Hey guys, how's it going? Alright, give me a sec to get this tested. Want to make sure you can all hear me in the stream. Excuse me, Twitch is playing an ad. Wait for that. Let's also check Facebook and make sure that you guys can see the stream there. Also check Facebook. Okay, I can double hear myself, so that means Twitch is live. Cool, alright. Everyone, thanks for joining. You may have noticed I've got a new hairdo. Basically the same hair, just colored that blonde part, this purplish, which is pretty sweet. Alright, I'm gonna go to Alright, so for those of you that are new here, my name is Aiman Akhtar. I'm a 3D artist based in Los Angeles. If you go to Google and just type in ZBrush Live, you can see all the presenters. So if you click on the presenters tab, you can see all these awesome people, artists that I'm happy to be among. And you can scroll down until you see me, Aiman Akhtar, and you can see the past broadcast and schedule. For December, I'm only doing today and the 31st. I think I'll be doing next week too. Yeah, I'm doing next week and then the 31st. So you can see some more of my work here and all the previous podcasts that I've been doing. So you'll notice I've been doing this one project with my friend Ryan. He designed this Space Pilgrim character. So I showed you guys how to block it in, how I go about setting up some hard surface and tubes, how I start working on the face and printing it out in miniature scale first to just see if the balance is right, if it's going to be able to hold its own weight, and just how it's going to look from all sides. I like to get stuff printed really early on in the process. And when you print a miniature scale, you don't need a lot of details, so you can print something that you've been working on a day and just check it out. From there, I made adjustments, had Ryan give me some notes, shrunk the head down a bit, made the backpack a bit bigger, basically made him look from about being 10 years old to being more about like 13, 14. Took a segue and made a mask, a scar mask for Halloween. This guy right here, because I like to be prepared. That was a fun project, and that was basically just the 2-hour sculpt that you see in this episode, and then printed out and painted. And then I added some elastic rubber so they can be put on. So that was that project, and then I went back to Ryan's Space Pilgrim, and we've been working on it, added a little buddy for him, worked more on the ground and the hair. I showed you those fibers last week, and new hair insert mesh brushes. So that was basically the progression. I've been wanting to show how I take something from start more to finish. And in the next few weeks, I want to start finishing up Ryan's project so we can get it printed, and then start the new year fresh with more regular projects. I want to do like a project per week. So in any case, let me put this away. Whoop. So this should be the one that's live streaming now. I'm going to double check that the Facebook link is working. YouTube link is working as well. Nope, that's an older one. Need to get to the live stream one. ZBrush live stream. Nope, I can see that I am checking out myself. Sweet. Alright, I'm just going to share this on Facebook. Give me a second, guys, and then we'll get started. In the meanwhile, if you want to know a little bit more about me, you can check out my site, aiman3d.com, and see I've been working in LA for about 4 years now, 10 years before that in Chicago on commercial projects. But since I've got here, I've tried to focus more on entertainment and 3D printing projects, basically toys and animation side of things. But yeah, all sorts of projects. So I'm going to play some jazz for you guys. And give me a few minutes and we'll get started. Interesting. Alright, back at it. So, where was that? Okay. So Facebook link is not live. I'm not sure why. I'm basically going to be responding to chat on Twitch. So if you guys are on Twitch, just hit me up. Or on the ZBrush Live channel. I can see those ZBrush live stream paid chats as well. So if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and I will respond as soon as I can. What up, Kurt? Good to see you, man. Alright, so like I said, more of my work's on Aiman 3D. If you want to see a lot of the 3D print sculpture stuff that I can show, that's on my 3D print page. A lot of it has been focused in the past year on my Fungosaurus project. It's a toy line that me and my wife developed and launched. So there's a lot of my characters on there. And let's see here. If you go to the Instagram and the website, so fungosaurus.com, it's Fungisaurs. We're going to launch the store soon, but right now we're focused on Kickstarter fulfillment this week. So hopefully I can ship everyone our Kickstarter blind box prizes and pre-orders this week. But those are the characters, and yeah, like I said, on the Instagram you can see a lot more of what we've been up to. So we did the toy launch at DesignerCon a couple weeks ago, and that was really cool. It wasn't really a launch, it was more like introduction to the toys. This is the third year we did DesignerCon, but it was kind of vindicating coming from just selling 3D prints the first year, unpainted, to doing a Kickstarter the second year, and then the third year we did the actual, fulfillment, on location. All the people that came, I gave them their Kickstarter pre-orders, and then the just getting them out there and then seeing the response. We actually sold enough to cover the table, which was huge, and and bonus. So we had like a whole day to just kind of interact with people, and then just not worry about just the cost of the expo. So that was really sweet and vindicating for a project that you've been working on 3 years, to see that people actually like it. So after we did the toy launch and we started showing the app to people, I also went and did a ZBrush podcast with Solomon. I got invited to do that, and let's see, you can play a little video of it. So I talk about my Fungosaurus project. I show the whole journey that I've been taking over the past 4 years, and moving from Chicago to LA, and then figuring out how to build our own thing, how to kind of bounce around, do the 3D printing projects in LA. So if you guys want to see that, you can go to the Podcast and Z Plays channel on ZBrush, and here's my podcast. But you know what? I'll drop you guys a link right here on the Twitch. So if you haven't seen that, you can check it out. What's up, Kurt? All right. Great. So yeah, like I said, if you guys are interested in seeing the podcast, it's maybe like an hour long, and I go into detail about kind of my career as well as the whole learning process of 3D printing. Very much kind of trial and error, I guess, and then trying to build your own thing, because why not, So that's my own thing, Fungosaurus, and hopefully the store will be going live soon and we can start shipping stuff before Christmas. It's pretty tough to build a thing with just a few people, but pretty happy with the progress we've made so far. Anyway, so that's all that, and let's get on to our project. So what we're working on right now is, okay, it's Space Pilgrim, which is my friend Ryan, our own IP, Ryan Winch, and this was the previous iteration of the character, kind of younger, in his little spacesuit looking for his mom in space, and now he's a bit older. So he's evolved, he's gotten a bit bigger, he's filling out a new spacesuit, or maybe it's the same spacesuit, just kind of grown up to fit him a bit better. But that's what we're working on right now. And let's pull it up and see where we're at so far. So got his buddy Quark in there. It's kind of a little flying space drone that goes around with him. If you watch one of the previous sessions, you can see how we set him up. So he's almost ready to just finish off and print. I'm going to keep printed in solid so that this base has a lot more mass, and then I'll print the cork itself hollowed so that there will be not that much mass, and it'll be able to hold up the weight with this base. When I say that, what do you mean hollowed and not hollowed? If I go with if I just hold Control and Shift to my select rectangle brush and I cut this in half, visibility wise, let me also turn on the display properties double. You can see that this is a solid mesh. There's nothing going on inside, so this whole thing will print solid. Versus Quark here has got this inner layer, which means it's going to print only this edge area, and then all of the inside will be hollow. And there's a ventilation hole right there, which will let basically any of the extra stuff out through the legs. Whoop. Gotta fix the keying there. Whoop. Do that. Do that. There we go. Gonna press Control W there so that the whole thing is keyed together. But you can see there's a key in there and there's the ventilation hole. That side as well. And in this case, you also notice I made one of the keys a bit longer and the one a bit shorter. And the reason for that is just it's a pretty symmetrical jet engines there, but I want to be able to actually think about the engineering of it. How will I put it on and then slide it on? You know, it's got to be like you can't have two things going in the opposite direction and both fit in at the same time. So these are the kinds of things you have to think about when you're 3D printing. Subtle things. Alright, but Quark is pretty much ready to go. I just have to decimate him because he's a bit high poly. Let's do that right now. So we have one piece at least fully ready. I'll duplicate Quark and I'm going to name him Quark. Quark. Alright, and what I'm going to do with Quark is right now he's at about 41 million poly, so that's way too much. So we've got to decimate it down. It's in two pieces right now, but that won't matter. If I go to my Z plugin, Decimation Master, Pre-Process Current, and then Decimate Current, we should be able to get them down to a more manageable resolution. So I'm going to start this process and start looking at your chat again. Let's play some music again. You've got that going in the background. Takes a second for it to pre-compute sometimes. Only natural. Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving break? I guess that was almost 2 weeks ago now. So that's why I wasn't streaming last week. I was actually visiting friends in Seattle. Did a little Friendsgiving. It was a nice change of pace from LA. Seattle's a lot more wet, and LA was on fire a few weeks back. So the goal today is to just start getting more of this ready for print and more detail going. It's been pretty slow rolling because I wanted to only work on it when I was on the stream, and that was a bit of a challenge to overcome because you can only get so much done in 2 hours, and maybe we've done 10 sessions or less so far, so it's actually not been that much time put on this project yet. But looks like the pre-computing's almost done. Reordering, that means it's still thinking. Kurt's like Thanksgiving was 2 months ago. I guess you guys are in full Christmas season now, aren't you? I'm not sure what you mean by my mic is blowing out, but let me try listening. I guess you guys are in full Christmas season now, aren't you? Oh, yeah, it is. That's not good. I'm not sure what you mean by my mic is blowing out. Alright, let's see. Why would that be happening? Let's try something again. See if I can hear myself. Is the mic still blowing out? Let's try something again. See if I can hear myself. Is the mic still blowing out? Nope, that's better. Okay, interesting. Yeah, the speaker I have is really bad, I guess. It just kind of throws all this static, so that's strange. As long as I don't move it, I think we should be fine. Alright, so that should be pre-computed now. I'm going to go to the pre-process is done. I'm going to just click decimate at 20%, and that should do the trick. From 5 million polys down to, let's see, whatever 20% of 5 million polys is. It's still a million polys, which is still pretty high. And it looks like our detail is fine. Good thing is once you've pre-computed once, you don't need to actually pre-compute again. You can just change the amount of decimation and click decimate again. And it'll go down from 1 million to 560,000, which is much more manageable. It doesn't look like we lost much detail at all there. Cool. Yeah, so that should look pretty good printed. And now that it's, let's see. Still want to make sure it's in 2 pieces. I'm going to click auto groups, and then I'll do a group split. So I'll call this quark base decimated. And I'll call this quark decimated. So now we've got 2 pieces that are ready to go. The way I like to keep visually track of this is I'll color them green. So whatever material, I like to use Sculpey. But what I'll do is with the Sculpey active, I'm just going to go to my MRGB with the standard brush and do color fill object. And it's just this puke greenish color, but the thing is that I remember that this is decimated and these 2 are ready to go. Now we can turn solo mode off and take a look at the rest. Alright, so quark's ready to go. The Space Pilgrim Logan here still needs a bit more work. I'll try to finish him up over the course of the week, but we can keep rolling on him right now and see if there's any areas we want to hit. So for now I'm just going to turn quark off in the subtool menu. And let's focus on where we're at with Logan. You may notice from last time we were on the stream, I was showing you guys how I go about doing rocks and hair. So I've finished the rocks more or less on the base. And this was just done with insert meshes of these various rocks that were just overlaid on. So there's some interpolation happening, which is fine. It'll blend it together when I do a Dynamesh anyway. But that creates a nice rocky base for us. So if you guys want to see how I went about doing that, you can catch the previous stream. We need a little bit more work still. We need to add the Space Pilgrim logo, which I need to get from Ryan. So that's one thing. Add the logo to the base. And we'll need to decimate the base down as well. And then set up some keys so that Logan here can key directly into the base. So we'll need a key into his foot, maybe his knee, I don't know. Definitely the other foot, maybe the hand too. At least a 3-point key, maybe 4 points. Just to make sure he's stable. And actually, now that I think about it, I only need a key if I'm printing him large enough that I need to take him out of the Form 2 build volume. So the Form 2 is what we'll be printing him in. And if I print him at about 6 or 7 inches, that should be fine. We won't even need to key him. So we can print the whole thing as one piece. That's how we did the miniature anyways. Let's see here. I want to check something. Because I opened and started working on the Logan 10 file. Yeah, looks like that was the latest. I don't think any of the hair stuff I did. Oh, it's there. I just didn't do much, I guess. There. So I was showing you guys how to use Dylan Ekron's insert brush for the hairs, and basically, you know, you do these spiral sculpting, and then you go about layering this whole thing with these kind of insert mesh strands, hair strands. So that's something now that I've shown you guys in the previous stream. I'm not going to do the whole thing right now. I'm going to work on the rest of it. The next time you see it, it'll be kind of like a cooking show, where I put something and then it'll be all pulled out of the oven perfect, just like the rocks. Still have to work on the hair, so that's thing number 2. So let's keep track of these. I like to keep a list of the stuff I'm working on, and Notepad is good enough for that. So for the base, need to add logo. For the hair, need to finish adding IMM strands. Alright. I think it needs another detail pass, because I've still only just done a first pass of blocking in the cloth, and I want to add a bit more, you know, not texture detail, but I want to make it obvious that it's a spacesuit that he's in. Right now the gloves are a bit low res. This front area for the backpack is a bit low res still. So I need to add more detail overall. Let's take a look at the concept. Alright, Sean's saying I got the lavalier microphone from Purple Panda. Shane Olson referred that. Now that's a good idea. I should get a dedicated microphone for these streams. Oh, you know what? I had this lavalier one, but it was it only works with an audio jack. So I guess I could try plugging into my audio jack for the mic. Yeah, good. I have that already. I need a new lavalier microphone that works with the new iPhone, because the iPhone doesn't have that audio jack anymore. It's just got that lightning cable area. Yeah, and I tried the adapter with it. It didn't work very well at all. Alright, I'll have to give that a shot again. Right now I'm using my Logitech Webcam Pro for the mic, and that served me well for most of these past streams. Alright, cool. So, looking at this concept, that's where we were at. Spacesuit needs a little bit more refinement and detailing. The gloves need more detailing. I like this detail he's got going on them right now. Little nodules, I guess, where the wrist is at. And some sort of, I guess, channels to make it look more like a spacey suit. This, I guess, readout on his arm. More logo kind of stuff happening in the front. Some more hardware features to make it look more hardware-esque. And this strap right now, the R straps are a bit more, how should I say, rounded and cushy. These straps are a bit more sharp, so we need to make those straps a bit sharper. I want to keep working on the face, make it a bit more asymmetrical, add a bit more brow. But it looks like we're not too far off. A little bit more of this detail on the tube. A bit more dirt and grime on the feet. Hair strands, like we already said. Okay, let me keep some notes on this stuff. Dirt, grime on feet. Gloves detail. Shirt detail. Already wrote hair strands. Face detail. Brows. Readout. And chest accessory detail. Straps. Tightening up? No. Sharpening. Alright, that's plenty to get the ball rolling right now. So let's start with this readout because that looks fun, and then let's do the backpack straps fixing, and then we'll just start detailing the gloves and the chest and start adding some grime. Let's see how far we can get in today's stream. So I've got the reference pulled up on my right-hand side monitor. And I'm going to start getting into here. Let's take a look at this readout. So the readout's supposed to be right there on his arm. And I think the best way to do that for us is to go with an insert mesh. We could extract it out, but I think an insert mesh would do the trick for us just as well here. So I'll go IMM primitives, insert cube, lower the depth down, kind of drop that in there. I'll also go ahead and split it. And might make some more global changes. Whoop. While I still have it selected. There we go. Make it a bit wider. Bury it in a bit more, but also make it a bit thinner. Do a little bit of rotation so it looks like it's more visible. Might have made it a bit too large. Right now I think his strap is a bit too large is what it is. We'll go to the strap and make that a bit thinner. You can use the pinch brush for that, make it thinner just at this end. I turn polyframe off so I can see a bit better. And solo it out as well so I can see only that strap. Haven't really touched these straps since we did the blocking in phase. It makes sense that I would need a little bit more refinement. Go back to the shirt, just smooth out this area so the readout has a bit more flat surface to lie on. Take the ends of these sleeves, maybe inflate them out a bit too so they look more sleeve-like. Readout is looking good, it's just a bit way too sharp. Got to work on this side patch as well. Nice chill sculpting session. Thanks for you guys for joining me just to see how I go about my sculpts. What are you guys working on? I'm curious. Anyone part of that feudal Japan challenge that's going on in ArtStation? I think it's about to wrap up soon. You can see the detail when I work it. I usually keep it very large because I want to make sure it'll read when I print it. So it's a bit larger than real life scale, maybe like 25%. Alright, back at the readout now. See what happens if we just smooth it. Yeah, we've got more than enough resolution to start working with it. Turn my RGB off when I'm sculpting here as well. Cool. Looks like the readout has a bit of a border. Let me solo select that. And another thing I can do is duplicate it, divide it a bit more, and we'll do an inflate, deformation, inflate. I'm going to try something fun. I'm going to duplicate this other piece, the inner part of the readout. Let me divide that as well. Delete lower. Maybe I'll pull it up a bit. And let's color it a different color so you can see what I just did. So I've got the inner part of the readout duplicated and moved in, while the outer part is green and inflated. I'm going to use the inner part as a cutter, and I'm going to cut it out of the outer part. Now, before I do this, I want to do a dynamesh on each piece. I'm pretty sure it helps the results. I want to make sure the resolution is high enough as well for my cutting. 800 seems to do the trick. We'll dynamesh the other one at 800 as well. Alright, so in order to do cutting, Boolean subtraction, all you need is to turn the one below to this half moon shape button. And then you can come to here, you do a merge, merge down, and then geometry, and then if you do a dynamesh, it should just cut it out. You could also use Booleans and then see it render Boolean and then, you know, append it back in, but I like to sometimes just move forward, inflate that edge a bit. So now I've got the edge extruded out a bit, and I still have the inner piece. Just a quick way to make something a bit more showy. Dynamesh it again, smooth it out again, and I will divide the inner part again, delete lower. Alright, so there we've got the beginnings of our readout. A lot of pieces I'm working with right now. Okay, so that's the beginning of the readout. Let me save the scene right now. Let's call this Logan 11. Alright, let's see. Let's call this Logan 11. You guys still having mic issues? Alright, let's see. Let's call this Logan 11. Alright. Alright, Jane Murph me. I think my mic was a bit jacked in the beginning of the podcast, but I think it should be better now. Let me know if you still have any mic issues. I can try to tweak it. Okay. Sean's saying I don't like those challenges. They can be a bit hard to work on, for sure. Still a bit distorted. Not as bad as it was. Pinging a little bit. Okay. I don't really know what to do about that. Alright, let's try to solve my mic issues before the next stream. Alright, continuing work on this readout. We want to add a bit more detail in there, as if there's actually something going on screen. Let's see. I'm going to go to the curve tube brush, and actually let's do a curve tube snap. We'll add a little curve in there. If you don't like the size of it, you should be able to, scale the size down and hit it again, and it should update. Sometimes it matters where you scale the size down from. There we go. Yeah, if you're scaling just on here, on the curve itself, and you see that it's blue, it may or may not work. But if you scale over here and you see that the cursor is red, then it'll, when you tap back, it'll click and affect the scale. Let's try 3. There, that's what I was going for. And then, while this is still live, you could still move it. Try making some moves. Alright, and then just drop it down. That looks good. Kind of just going for like a little bit of wavelength on the readout. Alright, make sure I bury those ends nicely. Make this wavelength look a bit more wavelengthy. Alright, cool. And then let's add a bit of just a graph kind of effect on here. So I'm gonna, let's split off the piece that we've got masked here. So I'll split, or I'll just do a group split. That'll do the trick. And I'll duplicate this readout. Go to geometry, divide. Oh, mask's on. Divide now. Alright, what I want to do is kind of create a quick grid. There's a million ways to do this in ZBrush. I'm just going to do it the dumbest way, which is I'll go to my alpha, I'll go to modify, and I should be able to, let's see, do more tiles, so H tiles basically. Let's add 8 H tiles. Let's see what happens. Turn off RGB. Make sure I have an alpha actually on. There we go. Need a bit more detail. 120,000 points isn't enough. Divide, 2 million. That should do the trick. Better. Turn on that lazy mouse. Whoa. I'm going to lower my focal shift a bit. Or maybe that didn't help. Let's see. Go to drag rectangle, what happens? That's just a cleaner line. So I'm going to go ahead and kill my focal shift now. And it should drag out a pretty clean line. Add more horizontal tiles. Let's actually add more V tiles and see what happens as well. There you go. Quick grid. Alright, but I want to basically do a Z sub and not that much intensity. Something like that. And let's turn that wireframe back on. Cool. It's just an interesting readout, and when it's printed, it's going to look a lot better. Alright, let's take the sleeve now. Lower it down a bit so it looks even. Not always going for even, but sometimes it's nice. I gotta make sure I got enough ledge here so the readout is nice and buried. And you know what? I might just move the whole readout out a bit. Don't need that piece anymore. Merge down. Merge down. Let's get rid of the colors on here and fix all my tiling. Do a mRGB color fill object with the white. There we go. And we'll go to move. Turn that off. And just pull this readout in a bit so it's more centered on the arm. Might do a little rotation on it as well. Don't know if that helped. Might instead just raise up this sleeve a bit. That's all I really want. Alright, so there's the readout. I'm going to bury that side a little bit as well. Great. Let's zoom out. Not a little bit of detail, it looks different from the elbow pads as well. Alright, so we got the readout done. Let's move on then to the gloves detailing. And then adding some muck around the shoes. So I'm going to save this out. Take a sip. Let's see. I see. So my mic is breaking up when I'm doing heavy PC work. So pretty much any time I'm working in the ZBrush file that's about 40 million polys, my mic is going to start giving out a bit. That's not good at all. Guys, appreciate your patience. Alright, so I want to add grime to the shoes and detail on the channels on the gloves. Alright, so for the glove channels, I think it makes sense for another curved tube scenario. For the knuckles, we'll just add spheres. Alright, so in order to make these look more like gloves, there's a couple of different things I can do. So let's go over to the hands first. Let's solo this out. Divide it a bit. I want to make sure, because I'm doing 3D printing, that all the spaces between my gloves and stuff is filled. Don't really need fingernails because it will be gloved. That's okay, you can't really see the fingernails from the angle that matters here. And just filling this out will just make it a lot, I'm more printable. I won't need to worry about it when I Dynamesh. Alright, so a few different things. I'll come over here to the Aiman primitives. I'll add a cylinder pipe. And that's something we can have the tube go into, so it's not looking like the tube is just going straight into the glove. We'll split that and divide a bit and inflate a bit. And divide a bit more. Let's also just go to my deformation tab, and I'll inflate the whole thing up a little bit so we see it. Looks like I need to do a scale. So it's in there. I'm going to reconstruct subdivisions, get some lower resolution back. Orient it properly. Alright, you guys know I'm working on the gloves now. And if you guys are still having mic issues with me talking, I'm going to try to talk less. Let me turn up the jazz and quiet down and work on the gloves. Okay. Hey guys, I'm gonna try to ditch this mic, the speaker that I've got going. Let me adjust the sound settings. Make sure you guys don't have any issues hearing me and this kind of sound stuff. Okay, I'm going to play back from my regular audio system. Let's see how that goes. Alright, let's set that. My regular audio system. Let's see how that goes. Cool. And now we have some music. Alright, let's set that. Alright, back at it. Hopefully now you guys won't have any mic issues. Alright, just adding these little knuckle pieces for the gloves. I'm going to merge all of them together now, so it'll be easier to work all together. I want them to look a bit more consistent. Let's simplify this extra bumpiness, this detail that's not necessary. You know, I like it when there's not much going on along the sides. It looks more futuristic. More oval shape rather than just half sphere. And want to make sure they're all a similar size to each other as well. Alright, knuckle pieces getting added. Alright, now we need some sort of channel for the knuckle pieces to go into this machine thing. So, let me see. This is already divided. Divide it one more time. Divide these knuckle pieces too. And keep tweaking these forever, but that looks pretty nice. Alright, now we want to add that channel going from these knuckle pieces to the piece in the center, and I think for that, again, curve tube snaps the thing. I could have a channel going inward, but I think it makes more sense going outward. Reduce my size there. And that's basically what we're going for. Adds a little bit of futurism to these gloves. And I'm going to switch to my move. Let's see, topological. When I use the move topological, all of these pieces are on the same mesh, but when I use my move topological, it'll only affect the one that I'm actually actively on. That way I can kind of bury these into each other. There we go. Oh, there we go. And nice and buried into there. Well, I'll have to do this on the other glove as well, but I won't bore you guys with that. You guys can just see the process. And I'll do it later for the other glove. That's looking neat. I wonder if we should continue those all the way down. Let me look at the concept. In the concept, it looks like they do continue all the way down. So those channels, whatever they are, they continue down. And looks like the way he's got them, they were a bit smaller, the little half spheres. But remember, I always try to make the details a lot bigger and so that they'll read in 3D print. But let's try. Let's see making them a little bit smaller. And also, let's see, split. I'm going to merge those. And now let's do a group split. There we go. And if I divide these now, it should look nice and clean. And if they don't, the good thing about having more resolution is now you can simply sculpt on them. There we go. Now I can come back to these guys, just deflate them a little bit. That way they'll get a bit smaller. But still very much visible. Alright, cool. So that's the top of the glove detail. Let's continue those insert mesh curve tubes down. I've got to remember the scale I used. I think it was 4. Nope, looks like it was 5. Yeah, that looks a lot closer. You know, it was probably 6, and then it made them a bit smaller when I did the divide on them. And find the right angle to sculpt some of this. And I don't like that. What it's doing at the end. What I can do though is select these 2 pieces and then just try to delete the rest of that. So invert that selection and I'll do a delete hidden. So it'll kind of stop right there. Wonder if we should do the same thing for the thumb. Likely. Alright, with that selected, I'll go back to my move topological. Let's kind of bury these in here again. I pull this tab up and over so it's clearly covering the top of the cylinders here, these tubes coming out. Alright, it's looking nice and clean. I'm going to control and drag while I have my rotate or move or scale on, and I'm going to hold shift as soon as I get on top of another thing that I've masked, and this way I can mask multiple pieces together, and then I can just go to subtool or groups, polygroups. I can group unmasked, or in this case I can just split unmasked points. That way I'll get all of these guys on their own layer. I can press Ctrl W to unify, and then I can just divide again. There we go. It's looking a lot cleaner. And in order to fill those ends, I could do modify topology, close holes. That should do the trick. Or I could Dynamesh, either way. I'm not really worried about the bottom of these right now because they won't really be visible from this angle at all. Let's take a look at our angle again. Yep. So now the bottom of those too much. They're not visible. The thumb, however, is visible, so I do want to add this same kind of detail going on for the thumb. However, I don't see that on the concept. Let me double check. So I don't see anything going on for the glove here on this side. I do on this side though. That's interesting. And looks like the gloves have an additional feature that the ends have caps. Those caps right there. So I'm not sure what to make of this really. That's one thing 2D artists get to do that's fun. They get to kind of, I see in that one I do see it. So consistency wise, I think I'll add it in just to have some consistency. And I'm going to have all of these channels go into the central pocket of whatever the tubes are coming in, rather than have it go straight in. Sometimes that's the job of the 3D artist, to translate the vision so that it looks good in 3D, and not worry about necessarily what the 2D artist had in mind, because sometimes there's a lot going on, and you know the reference doesn't line up. Alright, looks like I've got this extra base in here, so I'm going to delete that out of the scene. I've got the quark file here as well that's not decimated. I'll delete that out of the scene as well. So I only have the decimated quark in the scene. And let's finish up that glove part. I'm going to save the scene right now as well. Logan 10. Thanks again for joining me, everyone. Cryptid88 saying looking really nice. I'm hoping you're talking about the glove and not me, but I'll take it, whatever. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the insert primitives. I'm going to put another sphere over here. Wonder if I should put 2. Now that'll be overkill. Just find the one area. I'm thinking near the end of the glove, kind of just where the knuckles are, same kind of feeling. Extend that out a bit, move it down, and let's bury it in a bit as well. Then I can take my sculpting tools, find the same shape language that I used earlier. But this is the thumb, so it's okay if it's a bit larger. And we'll go back to our curved tube snap. We remember that it was a size 6. Confirm. Yep, that looks right. Trying to figure out where to look the most effective. That seems to be the right area. Nah, that doesn't look right. That feels better. Yeah, don't be afraid to redraw stuff if you don't like what comes out the first time. Undo is my favorite thing to do in ZBrush, because you can't do it in real life. Alright, I'm liking that. Again, let's split unmasked. Also click on that half sphere, and I'll split unmasked. Add that to the right group of the knuckle pieces. There we go. Unify that group. And this, I got to divide it first. And then I'll add that to the nice group as well. Merge down, merge down. There we go. Unify all those pieces. And there we are. Alright, so the last step into detail on the gloves, we could add some sort of channel going from this central area to the inside of the gloves, but we've got the sleeve ruffles over there, so I'm not too worried about that. I want to add the caps on the ends of the fingers. Easiest way to do that, let me see. I might duplicate this subtool, solo, and then reconstruct subdivisions. So I can go into a lower res. That should be good. Delete lower, delete higher. What I want to do is basically just find the cap right there. Invert that mask, and then I'll do an extract. Way too much resolution on that extract. Still too much. 0.002. That works. Alright. I'm going to dynamesh that as well. 800 resolution is our sweet spot for low res. There's our cap, our finger cap. So I'm going to delete this now because I don't need it. Turn on the old glove. So now we've got the finger caps going, at least the one. This will also help to make this feel more like a glove. I'm going to go ahead and start dynameshing this hand piece, just so I can get some of this bumpiness cleaned up. Alright, so that one cap did the trick. I'm going to duplicate it and move it down to cover the other fingers. Because I could do a mesh extract for each, but it's just easier to just do one and dupe. Let's merge all of these down. Actually, you know what? I'll do one more for the thumb. Get it rotated and angled to the thumb. I want to make sure I echo the shape of the thumb. But basically all I need is that ledge. So I don't care about too much detail there. Let's do a little pinch, get some of the shape of that thumb back. That's looking solid. Alright, let's do the rest of these really quickly. I'm not too worried about the rest of them because you don't really see what's going on in the rest of them. Not really. Alright, let's merge all of this stuff together again. Alright, got all these pieces merged together. And let's turn everything else back on again. Take a look at our glove in context. So I will turn off quark. Alright, just added a little bit of detail and it's already looking a lot better. So simple steps like that is you make your model look better. Just adding bits of detail. We added readout right now, and we added the somewhere detail to the glove. I'm going to do the same thing to the other glove, but I don't need you guys to worry about that. I can handle it later. Now that you've seen me handle that, we have about 40 minutes left on the stream, so I'm going to move on to the next part I want to hit, which is some grime and dirt on the shoes. Yeah, Cryptid, I can't really do much about the lagginess. It's got 30 million polys in this scene. I could try to simplify. Let's see, how many polys is the base now? Looks like the base is 18 million of those polys. So I can simplify this right now. Let me go ahead and... It's probably a lot of the rocks, honestly. Even if they were decimated. And the split unmasked points. Alright, so base is 5.2 million polys. That's a lot, but acceptable. I'll dynamesh it maybe at, I don't know, let's try 2,000. Whoa. That dynamesh did not work at all. Alright, so 2000 resolution was just breaking it up. I'm going to try 1500. Hopefully this goes a bit faster. I don't know what happened there, but sometimes when you have way too much resolution in ZBrush, Dynamite just goes janky. It just doesn't work. So I just undo it and trying it again at a lower resolution. Almost done. Uh-oh. ZBrush may be crashing on us. Hope I saved recently. I'm not going to poke the base, and I'll just give it a second to come back to life, hopefully. Only have Photoshop and ZBrush open, so there's not much going on. Yeah, that didn't work either. So for some reason, any high resolution is just destroying this mesh. Another thing for me to do would be to just separate out some of these pieces and then decimate the rocks. That should stop working because it will create a much lighter scene. Alright, so this is about 4.5 million polys. So I'm going to go to pre-process and then just decimate this down. I'll dynamesh it later, once I probably restart my machine. Now that's taking too long. I don't want to be like sitting here on my stream where you guys watch me just decimate something. I want to be sculpted. Alright, looks like the pre-computing finished. Let's decimate it down. Now it's not pre-computed. You know what? I'm not even going to deal with this right now. I'm just going to hide these pieces. And hopefully when they're off, ZBrush won't really care too much about the memory usage. Because I want to basically work on the shoe right now, adding some dirt and grime. So that's the only part we need visible. Boat shoes. Boat shoes? No, boat shoes. Alright, so we want to add some dirt and grime to this. Could do the same technique of using the insert primitives and then bring them out. Let's look at the reference. So dirt and grime is more around the bottom. There's a couple of little pockets, but it's more of a continuous thing all the way at the bottom. So if that's what we're dealing with, might be better to have the whole bottom be mesh extracted. Let's try that. Alright, so I'm basically going to go to the bottom side of this with my mask on. Instead of mask rectangle, I'll use a mask lasso. Lasso that bottom. I'll do an extract. Thickness is really high at 0.02. Let's do 0.005. That should give us all we need for the dirt and grime. Let's just start sculpting it up. There's our simple little dirt layer. I'm going to make it look a bit more like dirt too. A bit more unevenness, pockets of stuff. Let's see. I guess if there's any rule with dirt, it would be just don't be consistent. It's got to feel organic. Like it was splashed and sprayed onto his shoes. It's nice and grimy. A bit more grime up along the back side here. And I'm going to go into the insert primitives. Let's add some nice and buried dirt. A couple more places. Alright, there's our dirty, grimy shoe right there. Definitely a lot more stylized dirt. I think I can hit it with some H polish. And we want some of this dirt to continue on the outside of our soles as well, I think. Some of it, maybe not all. At least that way it'll look like nice and caked dirt. Just cake it all along the side there. Gotta make sure it doesn't look like sludge though. Seems like a pretty rocky area, wouldn't have too much sludge. Alright, let's take a look at the hole and see what it's looking like. Not bad. Little overkill. That's fine. It's always better to do a little overkill than under. And I might also go ahead and do a bit of a spray on there. Kind of break it up a bit. So it doesn't feel so solid. Turn off the RGB. That looks more like dirt. Whoop. Press fill layer instead of fill object. Fill object is what I was going for. So that's basically the dirt process. And we might add a border on the other side, but I think that's fine for now. I want to add a little bit more wrinkle detail to the shoes. Not much, just a little bit. So we'll go to my dam standard tool. And add the wrinkles where they would naturally appear. Maybe some scratches too. Might use the orb cracks brush to add some scratches. Alright, so for that, I'll go to the orb cracks, that's just O, shortcut. The scratches will just add a bit more life into this, you know? Like he's, you know, wearing these shoes out because he is. He's taking them everywhere. It would be wearing out a bit. I'm just trying to be a bit inconsistent with the scratching, so it doesn't look like it's formulaic at all. roughing it up a bit. These are heavily used shoes, so it must be wearing them in by now. Let's add one of my favorite tricks to do, just to add a bit of like a leathery pattern to things, is to take the alpha here, the, what is it called, alpha number 58, and instead of just lining it down, you do a bit of a spin. And this will add like a leathery kind of feel all over this boot very quickly. I'm going to just try it out and see how it's looking before I commit to it. Maybe mess with the scale, see if I like the bigger scale or the smaller scale. Because the smaller scale won't really read in the print. And I don't want it to feel like leather shoes either. Just wanting some variation. So that's pretty much all I'm doing. Just wanting a little bit more damage. If I want them to look leathery, I might do more. But I'm looking for that. Could make them really textured. I don't think space shoes would look like that either. They're a little bit more. Might do that to my dirt though, to make it a little bit more dirt-like. Just adding more breakup. Cool. So that's the dirt pass on the shoes. And that's basically what I'm going to do again for the other shoe. So pretty successful stream so far, despite mic issues at the beginning. Got to work on some details, creating the readout, creating the gloves there, and adding some dirt on the shoes. So I have to do that on the other side, but what else do I want to do? Let's see. Alright. Let me save this out. Let's see if you guys have any questions going on Twitch. Nope, all good, cool. Alright, alright. So now, I can work on the straps next. That's one thing I wanted to do. So these straps are just a bit now too soft and rounded. And if I want to try to steer closer to the concept, I want to make them a bit sharper. Let's see how we can do that. Easiest way is probably to use H polish. Try to hit it along the edge. So we got to find the edge first, obviously. But that gives us that sharp crease that we're looking for along the edge. Move some of these bits in and out as well. Now I want the back of this to be almost perfectly straight to indicate that there's tension there. I can still smooth it out a bit just to give it a little bit of that crease back. But we definitely want to convey tension with this, because this is, these straps would be very taut. So I'm just going to go around and hit all the straps once. Try to get rid of that curve too. Same on the other side. So I like a bit of this bendiness, but I don't want it around the edge here, because this backpack's really heavy. All of these straps need to be pretty taut going into his body. Pretty good. I'm going to hide the base again because that's really heavy. Also blocking our view. Need to see the straps to work on the straps. Talk to lots and lots of pro sculptors, and their favorite brush happens to be just the move brush most of the time. Same thing here. Want to make this looking a lot more taut. Hope you guys have enjoyed seeing this guy developed. Pretty much tried to develop him only on stream, which I don't think I'll do again. It takes too long for like a whole large project like this, full character. Moving forward, I might stick to more one-off projects that I can finish in 2 hours and then print them out, because I've got a lot of materials now for printing. What would you guys be interested in seeing me make or print? Or any projects that you guys are working on that you could, you'd like to see how I tackle them? If they're short enough, I'd be happy to, just dedicate a stream to that specific thing. All right, let's take a step back and take a look. Going to hit all the edges of this with H polish. Try to make sure I keep the thickness pretty consistent too. Cool. Straps are looking better already. Maybe a bit thicker now that I've done all the H polishing around the edges. They've gotten a bit skinnier in some areas. Going to try to smooth some of these edges, get those creases back, but not smooth too much to where we change the silhouette. Want to keep those straps nice and sharp. I can even do a pinch along the edges. Really emphasize that sharpness. And then hit it with polish again. Alright, so going to continue the detail work on the other glove and the other shoe. Want to refine the face a bit more. A little bit narrower eyes, more asymmetrical mouth. Let's pronounce this one brow line, get a bit more expression going. What the hell is that? What the heck is that? Whatever, I'm going to say hell. Let's see. I don't think I need it on the other side, just the one side does the trick. I can smooth out this brow ridge. Depends how many, if I give him a lot of wrinkles, he's going to feel really old, and I don't want that either. So round out that nose a little bit. We have under the lip line. You can play with this curve, sharpening it a bit. Now, I'm not digging that at the bottom. I think I'll just sharpen the top and leave the bottom a bit more lip-like. And bring the sharpness of that lower lid back a bit. Alright, overall shape of the face is looking like it needs a little bit of love. But we do like the squareness of it. So I want to keep it square as I work on it. Subtle rounding. I think it helps to get his nose out a little bit further. Cool. Let's see. Just adding a bit more asymmetry in the eyebrows. Just adding a bit more life into it. Trying different things. Kind of like that. But for that to make sense, I need a little bit more of a cut in here too. I think that makes a lot more sense. And I will run it by Ryan, see what he thinks. Get the logo from him. And then get cracking on this. Alright, so that's about it for the stream, guys. Thanks for joining. We're at about 10 o'clock. Usual time I sign off. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing the progress of this guy. And tune in. I think next week, December 10th, I'll do another sesh. Try to wrap him up. And then print him. And then December 31st will be the last time you see him because I'll actually have him printed hopefully by then. So, let's see. Not sure if Shane Olson is coming up next. I believe he is. We can check it out by going to presenters at ZBrush Live. And looks like, yeah, he's on at 11 a.m. Pacific. So he'll be on in about an hour. So stick around in about an hour. Shane's going to start his awesome stylized characters work. Not sure if he's still working on Velma, or a new character. But yeah, Shane's awesome. Check him out. Thanks again for joining, everyone, and I'll see you guys next week, Monday. Cheers.